Wow, Oscar Valdez fails a drug test, ban prohibited substance, and his team, they blame an herbal tea that they said he took. He drank some herbal tea, and that's what caused it. PED guru in boxing disagrees. We're going to talk about all that and more in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego in the back with some more boxing. Oscar Valdez, champion, coming off an impressive knockout win, now in question because he failed a drug test with, as you guys see on the screen, phentermine. Phentermine is a powerful central nervous system stimulant, and it can aid in weight loss. It can suppress your appetite, things like that. This is not a good look. Oscar Valdez's team, their rationale for it is that Oscar Valdez drank some herbal tea. You see other sports writers for Yahoo Sports. He says fighters cannot be allowed to fight with a banned substance in their system, period, no matter how it got there. Now, I agree. I feel like we're going to see what the WBC says after meeting with Oscar Valdez and what's decided between the commission. But this is a bad look because at the end of the day, what are the point of clean boxing program, VADA, WADA, USADA, if when you catch people, you let them slide and uncatch them? You know, just say, oh, I drank something, oops. Oh, I ate something, oops. I mean, some fighters have had long, illustrious careers in the sport of boxing and combat sports, and they've never tested positive. So, you know, to me, I don't really understand the idea of having drug tests throughout boxing and clean boxing programs if no matter what, you can just justify why it was in your system. Now, I understand that Bob Arum and Valdez's attorney are saying it's an herbal tea, but as I said, I still have questions. It's still the optics, if you're being fair, look bad. For example, if you unknowingly ingested a banned substance like phentermine, right? You just have it in your system and you weren't aware that you had anything in your system, unknowing, right? Then you get a call or a letter, however it works, from VADA and the clean boxing program say, hey, you popped dirty for phentermine. How do you then trace it back to herbal tea out of all the things? Because I'm sure that Oscar Valdez didn't just wake up and only consume herbal tea. So how did you determine that was the culprit of how it got there out of all the things you've done, or like protein shakes, or, you know, whatever else you drink or ingest or digest? How did you limit it to that? That's one thing. Two, boxing must think that we are really stupid. And it's a shame that boxing treats its fans like this. And they think, I think Bob Arum was the person that came out with a quote, and he says, boxing fans are dumb as rocks. You just kick them in any direction. You guys can look up, you know, Google search will show you the actual quote. But that's how boxing seems to treat its fans, like fans don't know better. And ironically enough, this is unrelated, but Errol Spence pulls out of the Manny Pacquiao fight. You had a lot of the racists and old media and stuff. They questioned Errol Spence's the legitimacy of his eye injury. There was like all kinds of conspiracy theories saying his patch was on the wrong side. I've cleared all that up, and some of those things still persist. But then you have someone like Oscar Valdez, Mexican American, and he's a two-peat Olympian, just had a killer knockout, now in question, and you don't see that same energy. And he actually failed. This is not a test. He actually failed a drug test. There was no proof from people like Bernard Hopkins, or no proof that was out there that Errol Spence was lying about his eye, yet and still people didn't want to believe it. But certain guys, Oscar Valdez, certain people, coincidentally, oftentimes non-black fighters, they have a pass and they're always given the benefit of the doubt versus when Gerald Big Baby Miller fails a drug test, when Jean Pascal fails a drug, just guilty straight away. And now we're supposed to believe the herbal tea, you know? The other question with the whole herbal tea scenario is this, is I watch a lot of crime shows and forensic files and whatnot. If this really came from a herbal tea, then you should be able to supply, since first of all, I don't even understand how you limited and you whittled it down to that's what it was if you didn't knowingly ingest this phentermine. How do you know this tea contained it? You know, and if you did drink herbal tea that contained it and you knew it, then you should know it's on the ban list. So that already looks very sketch. You like, I drink 2 cups of tea a day, every single day, you know, 1 to 2 cups, sometimes even more, right? So if I had something that randomly popped in my system, I wouldn't know what it came from, what I ate, you see what I'm saying? I've never even heard of phentermine like that, right? So, and that's the thing when it comes to PEDs, they have these complicated, complex names that you can barely pronounce. And most people don't even know what these things are unless you're in that world, unless you're in that underworld of anabolics and steroids and Lasix and diuretics and these types of things. Most people, or you're a doctor or something, most people are not going to be familiar with it. So you wouldn't even know what to look up. But either way, if it's in the herbal tea, then, and that's how you somehow know that, which is already questionable. If you somehow know that it's in the tea, then supply the tea, and then they can take it, send it to a lab, prove it has a phentermine in it, and then you can exonerate yourself that way. So we'll see if that happens. The other thing that makes that story hard to believe with the tea is I've done my own independent research, and it says phentermine is a controlled substance due to its chemical similarities to the stimulant amphetamine, making it only available with a prescription. So you mean to tell me that Oscar Valdez found some kind of herbal tea with phentermine in it, and you can't even get this stuff over the counter? You have to have a prescription from a doctor. So he has a prescription tea? Is that what we're supposed to believe? And this is also a guy you see on ESPN, Oscar Valdez. He had previously made this quote: "I was going through hell just trying to make weight in 2019. So you struggled to make the last weight class you are. What if you're just not a gym rat? You know what I mean? Or what if you gained pandemic weight or something like that? 2019, you said you were going through hell to try to make weight. Conveniently, fast forward to the future, you're involved with phentermine, which they say it aids in weight loss, as you see on the screen, and it's a controlled substance. So I don't know where you're going to get some kind of tea like that. But Victor Conte, who's involved and the founder of Balco in the Bay Area, he had to testify, all kinds of stuff. He says that that is not something you can get from tea. Here's the direct quote. He told ESPN, "It's not an herbal tea. The molecular structure of phentermine is not an herbal tea. It's my dog ate my homework type of stuff." So he's saying that's just a patsy. No promoter wants to lose money. This was supposed to be a hometown fight for Oscar Valdez in Arizona. So he's saying no promoter wants to lose money on the event and have no event for ESPN and have no show. But just like Yahoo Sports said, fighters can't be allowed to fight with banned substances in their system, period, no matter how they're saying it got there. This is not in any contained supplements. So phentermine, you have a PED guru who knows all this in the chemistry and different supplements. He says you can't find phentermine in any kind of supplement, so it's not like it's in something in GNC or a vitamin shop. This is designed to help you cut weight. Again, a guy who previously said I was going through hell to cut weight. None of this stuff looks good. The optics of this look insanely terrible, and we'll see what is decided. Victor Conte also said boxing should understand that phentermine clears your system and is undetectable in about 48 hours. Maybe somebody from the Oscar Valdez camp will bring in a sample of herbal tea for testing purposes, but not likely, which is exactly what I said. WBC, in any event, the truth is important to clean the sport. So I can't wait to see what happens. He says, use Google. I challenge boxing to present a single shred of evidence suggesting an herbal tea can cause a positive test for phentermine. In my opinion, the Oscar Valdez dog ate my homework theory has zero basis. Scribes, lawyers. So he's saying he's an expert in this field of drug usage and supplements and vitamin and all that. Look up his history. And he's saying, use Google. I challenge any of you to show us any precedents that herbal tea contains phentermine, right? Says the Oscar Valdez phentermine stimulant case is much like Billy Joe Saunders' oxylfilurine, which is exactly the reference I said, case. Saunders lost his title plus a $2.3 million purse, and he was suspended. Phentermine and oxylfilurine are potent stimulants that can enhance your performance. Mass Athletic Commissions upheld VADA's positive test result. WADA not testing for 70 stimulants during training camp or out of competition is a complete joke. Stimulants are a powerful performance-enhancing drug. WADA is about protecting Olympic sponsorship dollars and not athlete safety or fair play. In my opinion, WADA is corrupt from top to bottom. So these are his opinions. Either way, this doesn't look good. I don't know if the show will be allowed to continue, but you know, these are pretty severe things. And again, I mean, at what point do we draw the line in the sand? If what do we have drug testing for in boxing if all you have to do is make an excuse for why it's in your system? You know, I remember I had a teacher that once told me, he said, what's the difference between a reason and an excuse? And I want you guys to answer that in the comment section. He said, there is no difference. You can give a reason, and that's basically the same as an excuse. You say, oh, I'm late to work. What's your reason? There was traffic. You know, that's an excuse, because at the end of the day, if you would have got up earlier and, you know, planned for the potential for traffic on a Friday or at this particular time, then you would have been on time. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, what is the point of doing these drug tests if you could just explain your way out of it once you fail? And again, I don't know any herbal tea that has components that's sold here in the US that has a component that doctors have to prescribe that's labeled a controlled substance. And then it's crazy because you have Bob Arum. He did a recent interview and he said it's not a PED. As you guys see, I'll put the link in the description. Bob Arum says Oscar Valdez positive came from drinking herbal tea, takes aim at the reporter, Mike Coppinger. But how's it to take aim at him? He didn't have this in his system. You know what I mean? It says, yes, Arum talked to Valdez directly about this, and the kid gets dragged through the mud for no reason. He said, okay, so you got Bob Arum who has a show next week, and he says, it's absolutely nothing. It's not a PED. It's not illegal. It's nothing. Yeah, but it's labeled a controlled substance and it has chemical properties similar to an amphetamine, only available from prescription. And Bob Arum's trying to sweep it under the rug, saying it's absolutely nothing. It's not a PED. It's not illegal. It's not nothing. So there's a lot of things that aren't illegal, but you can't get, like oxycodone, you know, and perks. You can't just go to Walgreens and pick that up off the shelf. You know what I mean? Those aren't illegal either, but they don't want those strong oxys and stuff like that in the hands of children or in the hands of people who are going to abuse them. There was a very, very light amount in the sample. He took herbal tea because he wanted to stop drinking coffee. I mean, it sounds all too convenient. And at the end of the day, all you have to do is just fail a drug test and then explain your way out of it. You know what I mean? And I hate when people say, this is like one of the weakest arguments when we get these drug test fails. It was a trace amount. It was so tiny. First of all, you have a PD guru who's saying this stuff leaves and is undetectable and leaves your system in 2 days and 48 hours. So that's for starters. Second of all, most people cheating, they're not cheating with the intent of trying to get caught. They're trying to get off scot-free. So at the end of the day, maybe you just have trace amounts and remnants left after flushing, and the test still detected it. So having a small amount of clenbuterol or phentermine or whatever, that doesn't mean that you weren't taking larger, like copious amounts of this. It just means that's how much the test was able to find at that. Like, what if you took it 6 days ago and you just had small trace amounts of it in your system? But if the random drug test happened 4 days after you ingested it, he's saying it's gone in 48 hours. So maybe you only have small micro nano amounts. I mean, this is just common sense stuff. Let me know your thoughts. We'll see what's decided.